Ranked mode is officially coming to Call of Duty Warzone, but it might not be what you're expecting. Let's talk about it. A trusted leaker in the Call of Duty scene, the Ghost of Hope, recently shared a tweet on the topic, and it said, "Ranked mode for current Warzone is coming before Modern Warfare 2 releases. Will not be a full-fledged rank mode, but will be the blueprint they use going into Warzone 2. Will be released on current Warzone for testing purposes, Caldera only, and doesn't look like it'll be released for Fortune's Keep and Rebirth Island." So let's break that down and talk about what it really means, because it's a bit hard to unpack all of this in just a 280 character tweet. Firstly, Ranked is expected to come out before the release of Modern Warfare 2, and that date is October 28th. However, it's best to remember they won't want this to take hype away from their new launch title, so I'd assume we're going to see it quite some time before October 28th, maybe even September, if not earlier. I plan to speculate a bit more on how the ranking system will be presented to us later in the video, so stick around for that. But Ghost of Hope followed up by saying it will be the blueprint for Ranked in Warzone 2. However, the version we see on the current Warzone will only be there for testing purposes. This means we really shouldn't expect it to be as polished as we'd like it to be. In fact, I'd go as far as to say we really should be considering it as an alpha rather than a beta. We're likely to see a more simplified version of the ranking system we receive on the current Warzone platform with a full-fledged version in Warzone 2 when it's re-implemented. And hopefully at that point, it should be pretty much perfect. However, I wouldn't expect that with Activision's track record. But who knows? They've actually been doing pretty good with their recent updates. Additionally, it was shared that Ranked will only be coming to Caldera and not Fortune's Keep or Rebirth Island. And while that may be a bit of a disappointment to a lot of people, especially those Rebirth warriors, it actually makes a lot of sense. As someone who puts countless hours into every single map, it's easy to recognize that a lot more thought process goes into the gameplay on Caldera. With Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep, it tends to be run, gun, and either lose or win, but there's not a whole lot of thinking necessary to get a win in those modes. Of course, a bit of knowledge helps, but really, it comes down to positioning and to weapons. Knowing that it's only coming to Caldera also tells us that when we get a new map with Warzone 2, we should be expecting that Ranked only comes to the larger map in the play pool. Furthermore, with how long Activision, Infinity Ward, and now Raven Software have had us waiting for a Ranked mode, I genuinely hope we'll be able to see Ranked implemented very early in its life cycle. In fact, I think it's almost safe to say that it will, knowing they're doing all of this testing beforehand in the current version of Warzone. As for Warzone 2's release, we don't know anything for certain, but from what I've been hearing, that could be as late as the second week of December. Again, I don't really know any of the specifics of Warzone 2's release, but the grapevine leads suspicions there. They've also publicly stated that Warzone 2 will come before the end of 2022, and with Christmas being right around the corner and kids hoping their parents will buy them COD points for cool outfits and weapon skins, I'd say the second week of December is a safe bet. Now, with the tweet fully unpacked, let's go a bit more into detail on what we could actually be seeing with Ranked and what that really means for the future of Warzone. But to do that, we need to understand what a Ranked mode really is. It's basically as follows. You start off with 0 points, and with each game you play, depending on how it goes, you either gain or lose points. These points can be earned in many different ways, whether it be eliminations, assists, higher placements, or even victories. However, those points can also be lost, and losing them is a bit more complicated and is sometimes a hot topic with the competitive community. A simplified version would be this. When you try to start a match, let's say you have 100 points. Well, to be able to start the match, it's going to cost you 15 of those points, leaving you with 85 once the match is now began. This number tends to change on every single rank, making it more and more difficult to regain those points from the accomplishments you have while playing. But the usual best way to gain them back is to solely focus on the win. And in a lot of cases, that's really the only way to gain them back. So you don't really lose the points by doing anything other than just playing. Every match presents the opportunity to either gain those points back or slowly trickle down the ranks because you left or you lost too early on. There's definitely a lot more that goes into ranking systems, but for battle royales, that's about the best way it can be explained. You might be asking, why does any of this matter if it's just another mode they're adding into the game? Well, it's not just another mode. It can and likely will change how every public match feels for any given user, and that can come down to a few different explanations. For one, we're likely to see a massive influx of players actually hopping on to enjoy the new ranked system, and that's likely to take them out of the regular public public lobbies. Because of that, we may see the public matches begin to get a bit less sweaty and a bit more casual. That's what's been seen in many other games with ranked, including Apex Legends, and that one I can tell you firsthand is true. Secondly, and this is a genuine hope of mine, Activision may slightly reduce the strength of skill-based matchmaking. Truly, as it stands now, when you make it to the top, the games tend to slowly become unplayable. Obviously, there are ways around that, but this video isn't here to discuss the ethics or how anyone feels about a broken system that was implemented by Activision to hold their players on their game for a longer time to drive more sales for their item shops. Truthfully, I just think it would be nice for Activision to give players something to grind the game for. Something that truly tests their ability, and because of that, it gives them a reward to show they're doing a good job. In many games, we've seen character skins, weapon skins, player cards, emblems, and many other things that are only unlockable by making it to a specific rank in that game, and the best example I can give is Halo 3. In Halo 3, when you finally made it to the highest rank you possibly could, you'd receive a player skin that would basically just tell other players in your match they were about to have a really hard game. And that gave players a sense of pride. It gave players a reason to grind the game, and it really gave an opportunity for players to show off their competitive prowess rather than just forcing them into harder matches with what we now know as skill-based matchmaking. I mean, honestly, what's the point in getting good at a game if all they're going to do is throw you into matches with the best players in the world, but give you the exact same reward as if you were going against the worst? It literally makes zero sense. But hey, what do I know? I just make Warzone videos for a living. Either way, if you enjoyed, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed, or just check out the video on your screen where I met an undercover pro in Warzone Random Duos.